21-year-old Nicky gets the flu vaccination every year, except this year.
So what's happened to Nicky?
I was just completely cold and I was shivering, heavy head, I had a headache, I had a really chesty cough, and I couldn't even think properly.
Her diagnosis?
Influenza A.
Well, that's a very interesting diagnosis given the symptoms that she listed, because she missed the common signs and symptoms of flu. Number 1, fever. Lara Vella appears later on in the story, but at a hospital, not at this location here. But they're trying to give the impression that Lara is talking to her because she listed the symptoms. Lara goes diagnosis, and then she says, as though she's responding to Lara, influenza. But you never actually hear her say, oh, these were the symptoms, and then I was diagnosed with influenza, because she couldn't have been. She didn't have a fever. Now, the other major deceit, obviously, is where she says, this is the first year I haven't had a flu jab, making out like these symptoms that aren't even, well, one of which is missing, which would make it the flu. She's lying about that. But also she's trying to imply that it's because she didn't get the flu jab, but that's not confirmed at all.
So what exactly is influenza?
It's a very complex virus. So interestingly, it affects the lining of the lungs.
So here's a resident expert they've got in, Professor Christine McCartney, and she gave a very brief description of what is a virus. All she said was it's very complex before she then launched into what it does. So her contribution, yeah, as you'll see, is a bit questionable.
And then people get that terrible headache, you know, all of the symptoms that go with it, the cough, but also the immune system kicks in and can fight the virus.
Now, for some reason, the expert didn't mention having a fever as well. Perhaps they didn't want to, contradict Nicky's earlier testimony about her list of symptoms. And she's mentioned the immune system. Oh, well, that's it then. The immune system fights it and you recover.
A way that turns the body into a bit of a battlefield.
So why is she describing for flu only that it's a battlefield when your immune system is in action? I've never heard it called a battlefield with any other disease, but with this one it is.
This year, more than 57,000 people have been diagnosed with influenza, but why is this happening?
All right, let's just go straight to the expert in the white coat.
People have postulated ideas about climate change, whether the warmer weather is crowding people together and letting viruses spread.
Climate change has made the weather warmer. So people are gathering more together so the virus is spreading. What?
Flu throws us some surprises.
Well, yeah, certainly surprised that climate change managed to slip that in there. It's somehow associated with the flu. Yeah, very, very surprising.
But of most concern is the fact this year alone, 139 people have died.
So I've just calculated 139 divided by 57,761, what their figure is, times 100. The mortality rate is 0.24%.
Doesn't matter whether you're healthy or whether you have underlying medical conditions. Completely healthy people, including completely healthy young children, can be admitted to ICU. It's a tragic situation where they are, and their lives can be taken very quickly from influenza.
This is from a first video on influenza. It's from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. It's all old people that die, not young people. Might surprise a lot of people for a disease that has a 0.24% mortality rate and only affects old people whose immune systems are a bit weaker. But they have the influenza surveillance report. This is the New South Wales government. Weekly surveillance reports. They have weekly surveillance reports on the flu. Starting back in 2009, I'd probably say that's when the vaccines were first introduced. But we have a quick look. This is just an extract from, here it is, talking about data from April 2019, 46 hospital admissions. This is from one of the reports. It says here, no cases have been admitted to a critical care ward of the 46 hospital admissions. So that's, if it was 1, it'd be like, say, 2%, but it's 0. It's no admissions, which is a bit contrary to what the professor was just saying.
And it's not just adults who the experts say should get vaccinated, but all children older than 6 months, and there's a little incentive. When it comes to the flu, the experts say children are super spreaders, but if your little one is aged between 6 months old and 5 years old, you can actually get the flu vaccine for free.
And Lara, with her inflections in her voice there, they like to, talk to you like you're a little school kid or something at preschool. And you can get it for free. Now, wouldn't it be better, though, because the doctor did say, the professor, I mean, she did say, I don't like to quote her at the moment, but I will anyway. She said that the immune system will kick in. Well, she's right about that. Why not this is when the immune system's developing. Why not let it fight the flu so it's then not dependent on vaccines?
And we're really encouraging everyone to be vaccinated. Clear message to everyone, this is every single person in Australia, is we recommend for you to have flu vaccine.
Well, the good professor's very clear. Now the climate change is starting to kick in, making the flu worse. But yeah, that's the message, eh? Everybody should get vaccinated. It's not compulsory yet. I think that's not far down the track.
As for Nicky, will she make sure she gets the vaccine next year?
Most definitely.
And just a bit more phony script as though Lara's there interviewing her. Lara wasn't there. Same as she wasn't on Heron Island the other day.
Important advice for everyone there.
And news that, there might be a shortage of the vaccine, so important to get to your doctor and get it soon.
And these two sellouts, especially $6 million Virgin girl on the right there, Georgie Garner, she reckons that they might run out. But the professor, earlier on in the story, said...
As far as I know right now, there's plenty of flu vaccine in stock.
News that, there might be a shortage of the vaccine, so...
But there should be lots of flu vaccine this year.
Look, these script writers, they can never get 100% right. Maybe there's two different script writers. There'd have to be. One's written for her and one's written for Georgie. And they didn't bother cross-checking in the meeting before it went to air. That's why you've got this contradiction. But I think it's clear that Georgie's, thrown that little lie in, so we want to race down to the hospital and get jabbed with that much-needed flu vaccine that they want to put into everyone. So, all right, that's it for this one.